My name is Catherine Ann. I am the AppExchange Marketing Manager, and we're excited here today to kick off Dreamforce with a great session about apps. So you'll see the slide a lot this week. Just a reminder that Salesforce is a publicly traded company, so make all your purchasing decisions on what's currently available, not all the forward-looking statements that we make this week. All right, so what is the AppExchange? It's essentially the App Store for Salesforce. Just like Apple has App Store, Google has Google Play, we have the AppExchange. It's the leading business app marketplace with over 2,800 apps, and we passed a huge milestone this year with 3 million installs and 50,000 peer reviews. So they're all apps that are trusted and secure. They go through a security review process with us, and we want to make sure that it's up to our highest standards for our customers. We have apps for every department. A lot of people think of Salesforce as CRM. A lot of people are starting to use our Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud. We have apps that extend your value of Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud. But we also extend into your back office. So we have apps for finance, for IT and admin, for HR, and anything else you can think of. We also have apps for every industry. There are apps that are transforming entire industries, like Viva in the healthcare industry. They're a life sciences company that helps customers better connect, or helps companies better connect with their customers. Encino is a financial service app, essentially a banking operations system. We also have Canandy, which is a great ERP app that is transforming the manufacturing industry. So we have apps for government, for nonprofit, education, and so on and so forth. So before we get started, this is a plug. This has actually been my baby over the past couple months, so I wanted to let you guys know about this fun campaign across campus. If you guys, when you walked in, you'll notice there was an AppExchange pin on your seat. That is the first of 5 pins that you need to collect to try to enter to win prizes. So you'll see my lanyard is full of different AppExchange pins. There are over 100 partners giving out pins this week. So if you collect 5 and take a picture, post it on Twitter or the Success community, you'll have a chance to win $2,000 to those places: American Airlines, Ritz-Carlton, Spa Finder, and Bloomingdale's. And as a bonus, we have a few select MVPs that are roaming around campus with $100 Amex gift cards. So if they see you wearing your pins, you could win. All right, so we have a great lineup of customer speakers today here to talk about some of their favorite apps. These are meant to be lightweight, easy to install apps, relatively inexpensive, that also make a huge difference on their organizations. So we have Russ Hurl from DoubleDutch, Xavier von Livingston from Alert Logic, and Brian Lewis-Jones from Orbitz. So without further ado, I will let them take the stage. Russ, you're up first.
Oh, good, perfect, great. Hi everyone, good morning. You guys are all overachievers. First event of the very first day at Dreamforce. So I'm with DoubleDutch. I'm the VP of Inside Sales for DoubleDutch. If you're not familiar with what we do, we make the Partyforce app, any of you guys using Partyforce? Fantastic. It's a great application if you want to know where all the parties are at Dreamforce. A lot of great parties. You can actually see some of the posts in the feed, pretty interesting. That's actually part of our product. So we make mobile applications for events and conferences. So we basically are an extension of CRM or marketing automation. And so we have thousands of customers who use those apps in order to really engage their audience at their events. My story at DoubleDutch is actually really interesting because I started there right as the company was pivoting from the mobile CRM space into the event space. And so we had about 15 employees at that time. And since I joined about 3 years ago, we've grown that company from 15 people to 300 people. So very excited to share with you my app story and the stories that the apps that we use at DoubleDutch. One in particular is LeanData. I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into that. But to take you back 3 years, when I joined, we had no CRM instance in place. So in many ways, I like to say that I probably had it a lot easier than many of you in the room. And just by a show of hands, how many people work at companies of less than 1,000 people? Fantastic, all right. Well, maybe I didn't have it as easy because At DoubleDutch, we had nothing in place, and I actually was able to put Salesforce.com in place and all these other apps that you see up here on the screen without any outside help from partners. And I hope I don't disrupt any partners in the room here, but I actually didn't need to hire any partners to install any of these apps. And I think that is kind of the big story for us anyways, because when you are a bootstrap company, you raised a little bit of venture capital, you don't have a lot of money to sink into hiring consultants and implementation partners. So for us to be able to quickly install apps into our instance was a game changer for us. And so, if you look at some of the apps up here on the screen that we use, everything from data quality apps like data.com clean, which has really transformed how our SDRs prospect and how effective they are in terms of identifying the right prospects and calling on the right accounts. We use demand tools for kind of mass data cleansing. But then I also break our apps into 3 different categories: prospecting, demand generation, and opportunity management. We're not going to have time to go into all of these, obviously, today, but we have an incredible intelligence engine behind all the data that we're collecting and bringing into Salesforce.com. And so if you were to look at our sales machine, what you would see is what's known as a theory of constraints model, where you have SDRs who are specialized just on doing all the outbound cold calling and prospecting, and then you have account executives who are doing all of the demos, and then of course you've got customer success and renewals who are renewing our subscription-based contracts. And so we've chosen this cadre of applications in order to address each of those 3 specializations. And the one that I'm really excited to talk with you about today is LeanData. So I don't know if you guys ever have this experience, but at DoubleDutch, what we used to have is a situation where a sales development rep would call someone and they would tell them, hey, I just heard from so-and-so at DoubleDutch that you just called in. And basically we'd have 3 or 4 people calling into the same account at the same time. Part of that was because of territory issues, but the big reason was because we have this huge team of people in the Philippines who all day long are doing web research for us, and we're bringing in a massive amount of data into Salesforce.com. Marketo and our marketing team is bringing in a lot of data into Salesforce.com, and so what we often found was our sales development reps would be calling into someone who said, hey, someone from DoubleDutch just called me. And this is an example of an email. You probably can't see it up here, but this was sent to one of our reps that was basically a furious email saying, hey, why can't you get your stuff together? And don't you know that I was just called by someone else? What kind of shop are you running there? And so we tried a lot of different things. We used demand tools in order to mass dedupe, but what we found is that it wasn't intelligent enough, those types of tools, in order to fine-tune some of the differences between some of the contact records that we were calling on. So you might have someone with the same exact name but with a slightly different email address, and those mass deduping tools wouldn't pick those up. So what we ended up implementing was a tool called LeanData, and this was really efficient and very simple, not that costly. I think it cost us $5K or something like that for the year for all of our licenses. And what this allowed us to do is at a rep level, the reps were able to see whether or not there was a duplicate account, lead, or contact, and they can merge those right there within the related list on those records. And that was a huge game changer for us because I was getting probably 2-3 times a week hate mail from prospects who were saying, hey, your reps, they really don't know what they're doing. They just keep on contacting us over and over again. And so the way this works, you can see here on this screen with some of the screenshots, it surfaces those matches and it gives the reps a very easy way to dedupe that. So we've got the mass deduping with demand tools. We've got a team of people in the Philippines who look at reports all day long. We just hire them on Odesk, very easy to do. $4 an hour workers, very simple and efficient. They do a lot of kind of the stuff that human judgment at a rep level doesn't pick up. And then our reps, of course, before they call them, instead of having to search for someone and slow them down when we expect them to do 60 calls a day, they're able to do that right within the record, and that doesn't slow them down more than 1 or 2 seconds. I use this myself. I'm the VP of sales, and I get in the office very early. I make cold calls right alongside my reps, and so I'm using this. So I'm not just telling you this from from one of my individual contributors' perspectives. This morning, I was in the office at 5:30 here in San Francisco making cold calls, and I use this tool. It's really that easy that someone like me with no technical inclination whatsoever can use this. I actually did the install on this as well. It was so easy, a VP of sales can install it. And I've got 6 people in sales ops. So I think that's the point of this session is like, what are some of the apps that are out there that are really easy for you to install, not that costly? And this is one that I would definitely recommend.
Great. Thanks, Russ. All right, next up, Xavier.
So I'm Xavier Vaughn Livingston. I am the Salesforce administrator at AlertLogic. AlertLogic specializes in cloud security and compliance. Okay. So for our app story, our apps range between sales, marketing, data, and documents. So we have Fantasy Sales, Zora, FastCall, RainKing, Vartopia, Marketo, Temper Surveys, Ringly, Dupe Catcher, Unique Entry, Conga Composer, and DocuSign. So today I'll be talking about FastCall and Conga Composer. So FastCall is a click-to-dial app. So for us, our salespeople were making a large volume of calls, particularly inside sales. They make the initial touch after a conference, event, or a campaign. And as salespeople, they're very time-oriented. And they want to make the most out of their time. So for them, making and logging calls take time. So to be honest with you, our call logs are really hit or miss. As a result, sales operations and management, marketing often had little idea of how successful campaigns or events were. We searched the AppExchange and we found FastCall. And part of the reason why we chose FastCall is because it's native to Salesforce and it's very intuitive. As you can see from the screenshot, it fits in perfectly and seamlessly with the Salesforce layout. As a result of FastCall, we had fewer missed out numbers. So the salespeople weren't checking and double checking to make sure that they didn't misdial a number when they got, no, this is the wrong number. They knew that they were at least dialing the correct number. The call event is logged with timing, recording, and outcome. So it's doing a lot of the work for them. So it helps log activities and cuts down on data entry. And so for our salespeople, that was their reason why they didn't really log calls. They just didn't quite care for the extensive data entry that call logs require. So as a result, marketing and sales operation has a better idea of how engaging a campaign or conference was rather than only if it resulted in a sale. And we had a 97% increase in calls logged per week. Conga Composer. So Conga Composer helps us to standardize documents. So our salespeople were spending hours creating quotes and contracts by hand, even though we had Salesforce, so essentially it was double work for them. And oftentimes they would use out-of-date forms or the wrong form for a product offering. And for us, there was no single document that we could create that would apply to every product line in every instance. And then also we have numerous custom objects, which means that the architecture in our system is very complex, and we needed an app that would work for us rather than us having to re-architect our system to work with that app. We found Conga Composer on the AppExchange, and we were able to use existing documents. So we didn't have to do a huge overhaul of our current documents. We simply used the Conga merge fields. Also, we were able to code buttons that would actually select the templates for the salespeople. As a result, salespeople were able to generate documents with a click of a button, saving them 30 to 60 minutes per client engagement. And the templates were kept up to date internally between sales, finance, and integration services. And there was no need for salespeople to worry about changes to forms or which form coincides with the correct product line. Everything works in harmony for them. The generated documents are attached to the record, in our case, Zora quotes, and they're always available for future reference or auditing. And other departments are sure to have the information that they need for billing, provisioning, and services. So Conga Composer is actually one of the universally favorite apps within the company. It just makes everything work much more seamless, and it really cuts down on miscommunication between departments and the frustration that often happens when forms change and people aren't necessarily aware of it. So it's a really amazing product. I love Conga Composer.
Great, thank you. All right. Last but not least, Brian.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. So my name is Brian Lewis-Jones. I'm the Senior Salesforce Analyst at Orbitz Worldwide. You likely know us as a place to book hotels, flights, package deals, or maybe you know one of our sister websites, Hotel Club, eBookers, or another site like that. So I'm here to talk to you specifically about two apps that we use and we love. And I love that Xavier talked about Conga Composer. It's just magic for data. One of the apps that I'm going to talk about is specifically around data collection and standardizing of data that you get from external customers, and that is going to be FormAssembly, which you see under data collection here. I'm also going to be talking about the permissioner, which is kind of an admin's best friend if you're using permission sets to get to that granular level of security. Sometimes profile level security is not enough, and permission sets can naturally be a little cumbersome. So permissioner sort of sets to alleviate that. It's a really great tool. You can kind of see also the lay of the land at Orbitz. We use a lot of different products for contracts. We use DocuSign and Conga as our primary. We use ClearSlide for a lot of our demos and presentations to hoteliers. We use FormAssembly LinkPoint for syncing our emails from Outlook to Salesforce. We're also using things like Dupe Catcher and a lot of data manipulation tools. I'm sure there's a lot of data people in here as well. But we use Apex Data Loader, demand tools, and Jitterbit for all of our data happiness. So let's kind of get into FormAssembly here. FormAssembly is probably the best product I've ever encountered on the AppExchange for many, many reasons. So at its core, what FormAssembly is data collection from your users, right? Maybe you have a form or a customer survey, net promoter score. Maybe you're just looking to gather leads and turn them directly into contacts instead of leads. What it is a drag and drop interface where you can select the questions that you want to ask the user, drag them over to the main panel, and these can be, long form text questions, multiple choice questions. They can be a drop-down menu, and all of these questions that you're asking have data validation, tooltips, little pop-up help box to tell the customer exactly what kind of data we're looking to enter here. And the best part about it is that you can send unique FormAssembly links to any customer that you want to. So, for example, let's say that you have, I said net promoter score earlier, right? So let's say you have a net promoter survey that you want to send out to a group of customers. Well, you can use Salesforce to get those account IDs or contact IDs and actually send out a FormAssembly link specific to that account or contact ID using whatever email workflow or campaign or email tool that you want to. All of the results that you're going to get are going to come straight back to that Salesforce record. So it's a uniquely powerful thing to be able to solicit for any data collection and get it directly back to that record and kick off whatever Salesforce workflows you want to based on it. So I want to talk specifically about a couple of projects that we focused on at Orbitz. One, which was a monster, is onboarding new customers. And the entire goal here was to retire legacy software. I'm sure a lot of people in here have old legacy systems that your companies absolutely depend on to have business processes baked into. So our goal here was to transform our onboarding portal into FormAssembly, essentially creating a portal for customers to go in, enter all of the data that they need to enter to get hosted on our website. So we're talking about rooms, rates, all those amenities that you normally see on hotels when you're going to book. We're asking them for all of those and sending it right back to Salesforce and linking up Salesforce with external systems based on what they enter. So the results of onboarding are pretty new. We've only been live with this new onboarding process for about a month and a half, but so far we're seeing that by migrating all of this over to FormAssembly and providing them with tooltips, with better data validation, we're able to cut down the time that it takes to get a hotel online by about a third, which is massive in our world, right? We want to get more hotels for you guys to book a Dreamforce. So another project that we worked on, which is interesting, of course, is after we get a hotel online, we want to have the best looking hotel available. We want all of their property level content and their room level content to be just supreme, right? We want to be able to say, hey, this is the room that you're going to get, and have all of these images specifically for that room. we found that we had many properties that hadn't updated images in a little bit of time, or many properties that performed very well, but not quite as well as those with room-level content. So we began soliciting for this room-level content, and we used FormAssembly as a platform for them to load their images and send them back to us. What FormAssembly does is it provides you with a file upload option and then actually just sends it right back to the Salesforce chatter feed so that our agents could go ahead and just get those files and load them up to our Orbitz platform. So this number is not exactly right anymore. It's 17,800 properties with new content year to date. It's actually just surpassed 20,000, which more than doubled our initial goal for the year. So fantastic tool for data collection. So let's go on to the next slide. So the next slide, the permissioner. So now we're kind of changing gears from the data side of things more to the just admin-centric side of things. Permissioner is a very simple, people use superlatives like easy to use, simple, easy to install. It really is. All it does is assigns permission sets, but it does it a little more intuitively than Salesforce provides out of the box. So what it provides is the ability to assign one or many permission sets to one or many profiles, roles, or individual users. So as you're assigning permission sets kind of standardly, you're clicking through all of the names of people A, B, C, D, and assigning all of these permission sets to all these different users. So what this allows you to do is just search by profile and say, okay, yep, I want all of my standard users to have this new permission set. Click apply, and you're done. So our biggest use case for this is when we have large development projects going in our sandbox and want to deploy to production. So as you probably know, when you're deploying from sandbox to production, a lot of times you have to update field level security for one or many profiles, and that, I don't know about you, takes me sometimes upwards of an hour, sometimes two, depending on the size of the deployment. So what we adopted as a best practice instead was, along with our development in the sandbox, we began also creating a permission set specifically around that one deployment, right? So setting all the field level security around all of those fields that we created and all of the objects that we created. And then when we deploy, we just assign that one permission set using permissioner to as many profiles or roles, getting as granular as we need to. And this is cutting down our deployment time pretty significantly. Like I say, sometimes by as much as a couple of hours, depending on the size. So another nice thing about the permissioner, of course, is that it allows you to kind of pivot your objects a little bit more quickly and assign different teams to different objects, kind of on the drop of a hat, I suppose it were. So it allows you to take whatever permission sets that you have and say, all right, so this group of users gets this group of users removed from this. So it's what you see is what you get when it comes to this. It's a pretty simple tool, but we've found it very, very useful, especially for deployments.
Great.
Thanks.
All right, that's it.